Hello, welcome to Central Carmen Live. I'm Gavin, bringing you a Team Fortress 2 gameplay commentary. Today, I have no idea what I'm playing as. I just decided that I wanted to talk into a microphone right now. I just didn't feel like recording any gameplay for this. So whatever's going up, you're watching. Now, there's something out there that is really broken, really annoying. It's been broken and annoying since forever, and it needs serious fixing. I'll give you a hint. It's not Call of Duty. Haven't guessed it yet? It's the education system in every country ever. More specifically, in elementary schools, or primary schools, or whatever you call them, you know, grades 1, kindergarten to grade 6. Well, at least it went from kindergarten to grade 6 at my school. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is, teachers at those schools, they fucking suck. Like, I'm sorry, elementary school teachers are the worst. I don't know about you, but for me, elementary school was hell. Okay, it was terrible. And I might have an idea on why it's so bad. 2 reasons. First one, all the teachers are too young. Oh, I'm going to become a teacher and teach a bunch of cute little kids. The second reason is teachers are too old. Oh, I'm done with these stupid teenagers. Time to move on some nice, innocent little kids. That sounded a tiny bit rapey. This video is not going to get rapey, I promise. Unless at the end, I mean, if you want it to. Now, I've had bad experiences in my past with both teachers who are too young and teachers who are too old. In my entire 7 years in elementary school, there was only one teacher that I actually liked. My grade 6 teacher, Mr. Flight. He was cool. Like, but he did sort of, he didn't, like, wax or shave his chest hair, and it kind of poked out of his shirt, and he started twirling with it, and he played with it in class. That was a bit weird, but other than that, he was a really cool person. But unfortunately, grade 6 also shared the worst teacher in my probably the worst teacher in my experience. You see, the thing that they did in grade 6 was that for French class in Canada, we do French instead of Spanish or whatever. We'd go to a different teacher's room, and that teacher's students would come to Mr. Flight's room to learn science. This French teacher was the worst. Margie Edkins. I don't usually tell people's names for obvious reasons, but I don't care, okay? Margie Edkins, this is her name. I'm not telling you to do this. I'm just saying I would really appreciate it if you knew where Margie Edkins lived, if you'd give her a nice little slap, maybe a stab or two. I'm not telling you to, I'm just saying it'd be much appreciated. No joke, 12 years old, this teacher made me cry. She is such a bitch, okay? You know what? She's a bitch. She targeted me for some reason. I don't know what I did to piss her off, but she didn't like me. Whenever I asked a question, she just said, figure it out. When other people asked her a more obvious question, she gladly helped them. Now, even though French, I suck at French. I'm never taking another French class ever again unless I'm forced to. Which, actually, I wouldn't mind taking French because last year's French teacher was pretty cool. And the one before that. Anyway, that's off topic. She targeted me whenever I did something. Whenever I'd say anything while she was talking, she would boot me out of the room. There's one time she sent me to the office. I don't know what it was for. I think it was because I said I had a punching bag with her face on it. And she took me to the office. And then the vice principal was like, oh, yeah, he had this, I don't know what accent it is. He must have been from, like, Nunavut or something. He had this strange accent that kind of sounded like someone from New Jersey, but not really. I have no idea where he's from. Anyway, he's like, that's a threat. You could go to jail for that. And you know what I said to him? I said, no, that's not a threat. I mean, unless she was my punching bag, it's not a threat. You know, I didn't even say I was going to hit the punching bag. It's not a threat, man. This vice principal, he was kind of cool sometimes, but other times he could be a complete dick. Like, one time, my grandpa bought me this slingshot, but the surgical tubing broke, and I took it to school, and, like, it didn't have a piece of surgical tubing. I mean, I could understand why I'd get in trouble for this. Yeah, I got in trouble for it, because in my school, in elementary school, people made these forts, and there were massive, like, fort wars. It was literally, like, a bunch of street gangs. Like, no joke. Like, a bunch of countries. They would constantly go at war. They'd sneak in. Like, people come after school and take each other's resources. In the winter, it was ice and, like, snow blocks that have hardened. In the summer, it was hay. And occasionally acorns. I think the acorn thing was only in for, like, 2 years. And I remember in grade 1, it was rocks. It was all about rocks in grade 1 in the summertime. Anyway, like, people sneak in, take each other's resources. And I'll be honest, it felt awesome being a part of that. Even though I was kind of at the bottom, it felt awesome. Like, I've always loved bank heists. Like, I love bank heist movies. And whenever I'd sneak in after school to steal people's resources, I felt amazing, okay? That was, like, the one redeeming quality of elementary school for me. Anyway, so he takes me in, and, he's like, hey, what you doing with this? I'm like, you know, it doesn't have surgical tubing, you know, it can't hurt anybody unless I stab them with it, and that wouldn't be very effective. The more effective thing would be, like, to slap them with a stick or throw rocks at them. And then he's just like, well, you know, think of it like this. If I made a homemade gun, right, and I shot it out in the back, would that be safe? And man, these people, they take advantage of you being a kid. Like, now, if I would have said that, I'd go, yes, it would be dangerous, but that's a gun. Okay, that's a homemade, that's a zip gun. You don't even know if it's gonna work or not. If it was like an actual gun that you bought from a store, sure, it'd be hella safe, but not really, because there's houses nearby. I'm like, this is a fucking slingshot without surgical tubing that I didn't even, like, try to shoot or anything. I mean, I understand why they'd get concerned, okay? But still, like, these people, they take advantage of you being a kid. Anyway, the title of this video is Why Young Teachers Shouldn't Teach Young Kids. I've started severely veering off of that subject topic. Anyway, where I'm coming from here is grade 1. Mrs. Crut. I don't know her first name. It might have been Karen or something. She was an absolute bitch. My parents hated her too. And the reason I'm bringing this up right now is because I recently went to Katy Perry, like, a couple days ago. Yes, okay, yeah. I'm a metalhead, and I like Katy Perry too. So what? Anyway, I saw her there. I remembered her face. I haven't seen her in, how many years? I haven't seen her in, like, 9 years, and I still remember her face. I remember her nose was really small, and she had kind of tannish skin. I knew her. I said, hey, Miss Crut. And she's like, yeah? And I'm like, I don't like you. And she didn't know who I was. I mean, I remembered her. My dad kind of said, hey, that's rude. But then I said, hey, that's Miss Crut. And then he sort of giggled a bit. But anyway, grade 1. My God, that was a doozy. I hated that grade. Again, just like with Miss Edkins, Miss Crut targeted me. I don't know what I did. I think it was because I was different, okay? I was nerdy when I was still nerdy when I was like 6, okay? I remember one time I got in trouble at Show and Tell because I brought a Kiss album and it had Paul Stanley was on the cover, and he was like sort of wearing this weird leathery thing, this sort of like had belted leathery thing. It had a lot of his chest exposed. And she just comes up to me and says, hey, that's inappropriate for school. And I don't understand that. Like, this guys have a shirt off all the time. Like, and like like at school we change together in the gym. They're not like worried about us seeing each other's bodies. And, I mean, he didn't have any chest hair at all. Well, he had a little bit, but it wasn't too much. It wasn't gross. It wasn't sexual or anything. And I got in trouble. She took it away from me. I still haven't gotten it back. I mean, I'm pretty sure by law she has to give stuff back, because I'm pretty sure that's still stealing. So I never got my Kiss album back. And I got suspended for a week. I remember we were doing this project. It's kind of like a show and tell, except we had to bring something and make this little presentation about something that represents us. We're supposed to bring something that represents us, and I remember specifically, this green sheet of paper. At the bottom, it had all this stuff. I don't remember the details. At the bottom, it says, "Do not bring video games because you simply like to play video games." Now, my dad, he didn't. I wanted to bring a game. He didn't let me. What did I bring? I think I brought a tiny, a little kid electric guitar. It was cool as hell. I got it it was on sale. It was $20 at a Cabela. No, not a Cabela. It was like a Princess Auto or something. And I left the guitar at home, and I brought the game. I brought Spider-Man 2 for the Xbox. Still the best superhero game to this day. It's tied, Spider-Man 2 and Deadpool are sort of tied. Anyway, so I got there. It's my turn to come up. Little Kyle. I take out of my backpack Spider-Man 2. And then Miss Crut, her face. I could tell in her mind she wants to yell at me. She's losing her shit. And it's like I just said specifically on the letter, no video games. And then I pulled out the letter. This is me. I'm fucking 6. Okay, I was probably smarter when I was 6 than I am now. Well, I'm smarter than the average 6-year-old. I pulled out the paper and it said, "Don't bring video games because you simply like video games." Now, I'm like, I don't simply like video games. Video games are my life. Video games are my passion. And she had just the death stare. She gave me the crazy eyes. She's like, "Video games can't represent you. They're not real." Now, I knew what she meant in my head, but I just decided to be a smartass and say, "It's real. I'm holding it in my hand right now." She got mad at me, and she took me to the office yet again, just like all the other young teachers, because young teachers are idiots, especially when they're teaching young kids. If you're a young teacher, I'd recommend teaching middle school, because middle school is the coolest. Anyway, so I'm at the office, and then the vice principal, the guy who sounds like he's from New Jersey, but he's really not, just somewhere else in Canada. Okay, I heard you said no video games allowed, and again, it said because I love video games. It's represent me. That's me. It's video games. I don't do anything else. Like edit videos, watch Netflix, and play video games. Now at the time, I didn't have a lot of video games. I didn't play a lot of games. I still don't. I don't have a lot of games. There's only 45 games on my Steam library. He just said, "No, Kyle. No. That's not how it works." And you know what I said to him? I said, "Well, little Emma, I'm not going to say her last name. Little Emma brought her violin. And that was fine. She could bring her violin. But that doesn't make sense. If I'm not allowed to bring video games because I simply like playing video games, why is Emma not allowed to bring her violin simply because she likes to play the violin?" And he's like, "Well, Kyle, it's because she can make money off of that. That could become a living." And I didn't say this because I didn't know. I mean, I was 6, come on. I might have been 7. I don't know, doesn't matter. I was young. What I would have said to him now, if my brain was in that little 7-year-old's body, I would have said, "Video game analysis is a thing. The people analyze video games for a living. It's a thing. Video game analysis. Look it up. It wasn't that big at the time." Anyway, I didn't say that. So about the violin thing, he knows I'm right. He knows I'm right, but he's trying to take advantage of me because I'm younger. He goes, "Yeah, well, it has violence in it." What accent is that anyway? I'm like, okay, first of all, the game is not only rated E, But it's a Spider-Man game, for God's sake. Tell me a kid can't, like, Spider-Man is inappropriate? Spider-Man's, like, the coolest superhero ever, apart from Deadpool. Which, if they had a Deadpool game at that time, that wouldn't have been very appropriate. Like, I could understand if I got in trouble for bringing San Andreas or something, but no, this is fucking Spider-Man. Spider-Man's for kids. Now, sure, the movies may have been a bit inappropriate, and the new ones. Okay, well, it's Spider-Man. Come on. Now, to bring to the end point what this video is all about. Why young teachers shouldn't teach young kids. Well, quite simply, you don't know what's going to come out of a young kid. Like, I was different. I was nerdy. I was a loner. Like, I'm still a loner now, man. All my friends are on the internet. I've got 148 people on Skype. Like, I'm not joking. All my friends are on the internet. I don't even talk to most of these people. Like, young teachers, the way they think is, oh, this is going to be some nice cookie-cutter kids that are going to be cute, and they're going to be hip and up with the times. And also old teachers. Old teachers, like people who are 60 and up. No, 55, 50 and up, okay? Those people shouldn't be teaching young kids either. Because the thing with, like I said, young kids, they're one-sided, okay? You don't know what's going to pop out. If they're slightly different in any way, that's going to end up being completely different. Now, the thing that made my grade 6 teacher so amazing is that he was in the gap. I'm assuming he was like 42, maybe 45. He got me, okay? He understood me. He knew what I liked. Mr. Flight, I talked about him earlier. Like, he was a cool guy. Like, and could he not only connect with the other kids, I'm doing air quotes, normal kids, he had a special connection with me. And he was also the only male teacher, come to think of it. He was the only male teacher in that entire school besides one of the gym teachers. There's 2 gym teachers. Anyway. And now that I'm in middle school, everyone's just a Mr. Flight. Everyone's cool. There are a couple young teachers, but a lot of them are older. And they understand me. They get what I like. And young teachers and older teachers should stick to high school and maybe middle school, like maybe like grade 9 and grade 8, because, well, as they get older, they realize, hey, not everyone is as abnormal as me. And everyone sort of has a bit of normality in them. Even me, I hate to say it, but I've got a bit of normality in me too. Anyway, that wraps up my video. See you later, nerds. Live long and popsicle. On a completely unrelated note, the Moss Bomb is a dick. He commented on that video about Hitler, and I proved him wrong about something, and he's disliking my videos. Like, look, my new Assassin's Creed video, it has 0 views and 1 dislike. Yeah, he's just one of those religion nuts who thinks he's always right and can't be proved wrong. He said that, hey, there's no rape. God doesn't tell people to rape and murder people in the Bible, and I proved him wrong, because he does. And he just said, oh, I don't know what kind of Bible you read, but I'm reading the real one. Anyway, the Moss Bomb, he's a dick. Don't like him.